Tonight on Connecticut's news station, a former governor passes away. We're hearing reaction from local leaders as we remember Lowell Weiker.
And a warning from the police union in the capital city, why they say the department's collapsing and how officials are responding tonight.
Plus, the man accused of killing his estranged wife appears in court. The new details we're learning.
Now at 6, this is Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us here on the news at 6. I'm Ben Goldman.
And I'm Jen Bernstein. Tonight, we are remembering Lowell Weiker, a former Connecticut governor, U.S. senator, and political giant who shaped policies in the state and the nation for decades.
Lowell Weiker's loss being felt across the state tonight, but especially at the Capitol, where he served as our state's 85th governor. Current Governor Ned Lamont ordering the flags to half-staff today in Weiker's honor.
Fox 61's political reporter Emma Wolfhorst is live at the state capitol with more on how state leaders are remembering Weiker. Emma.
Jen, Ben, tonight condolences coming in from the current administration, Governor Ned Lamont and Lieutenant Governor Susan Bysiewicz, saying they lost a mentor today. Both Lamont and Bysiewicz remembering Weiker as a larger-than-life person, but they said more than just an accomplished lawmaker and governor. They also remember him as a friend. Lamont and Bysiewicz say many people may think of Weiker as the income tax governor, but they say he fought for so much more. They say they admired Weiker's political courage during issues like Watergate and the Vietnam War. He championed fights for the environment, people with disabilities, HIV and AIDS research, and was pro-choice. Lamont believing Weiker took the lead on a lot of issues before they were in the public consciousness.
I know it was a battle there at the end, but I stayed in pretty good contact with him over this last 5 years, and I'll miss him every day.
He was someone who had quite a perspective on both state and national politics, and we've so appreciated all the advice and mentorship that he's given to us.
A leader in the state who will surely be missed. That was our Emma Wolfhorst reporting live from the Capitol. Meanwhile, we are following some breaking news here out of New Haven, where officials are reporting the suspicious death of a baby on Farron Avenue. They say a 10-month-old was not breathing in just the afternoon today. It's unclear where the baby was found, who made the call to police, or the baby's cause of death. We're working to get those details, and we do have a crew headed to that scene. We'll update you as they come into our newsroom.
All right, turning to the weather right now. Some rain this afternoon, but will we see more rain tonight?
Yeah, meteorologist Ryan Breton joining us now. Ryan, we had some crazy storms coming in through here. Maybe, I don't know, 20 minutes ago. It seems pretty sunny out there.
Yeah, now. Ben and Jen, it's that one line that came through Hartford about an hour ago. Now it's moving into eastern Connecticut. But check this out. What a shot from Chris Graham. Put the drone up in Portland. This was looking toward Hartford. Great shot of a lightning bolt there. It really is just this one line. There's one lone shower back behind it. But if you're east of this line, you are going to get some rain, thunder, and lightning, especially in the quiet corner. We have the very heaviest of the rain now coming out of Rockland and Tolland, moving into Ashford and Willington too. We'll zoom you in right toward the Mass border. This is where it looks like the strongest part of the storm is, coming into Stafford and moving into Union in about the next 15 or 20 minutes. The southern part of the line is not as strong, but there is some heavy rain that's coming into the Haddam area, East Hampton, moving to the east there, and not much along the immediate shoreline. This will pretty much dry up for anybody near and along the Connecticut shoreline. But moving this to the east, the strongest part of the line, it's headed into Windham about 6:22, Eastford closer to 6:30, and then Killingly as we get closer to 7 o'clock. So you'll see hour by hour this all going to the east, maybe just a lone shower behind it tonight, but the rest of the night should be dry and it should be quiet as temperatures will be dropping down into the 60s in most spots overnight tonight. Tomorrow we have a better day ahead, actually. We'll have some sunshine, temperatures back up into the 80s. It does look like the next 2 days are mainly dry, but there may actually be some of that wildfire smoke that returns into our skies. Doesn't look all that thick, but it may be enough that you notice it at times the next couple of days. As for the weekend, Saturday looking like the drier day. Rain chances return for Sunday. We'll talk more about that in detail coming up in about 10 minutes. Back to you.
Thank you, Ryan. New here tonight, a warning from the president of the Hartford Police Union, who says the department is on a dangerous path with a depleting force. Fox 61's Julia LeBlanc shares why and how the city is now responding.
Well, the union is making a public statement here saying that the Hartford Police Department is on the verge of collapsing. Now, why are they saying that? They say a lot of it has to do with quality of life issues.
I need something to sell to an officer to stay here.
Hartford Police Union President James Rakowski is sounding the alarm, sending out this message Wednesday morning saying if the city doesn't act now, their police department will collapse.
We have people retiring. We have people retiring early. We have people going to other agencies. And then we have people just leaving the police force.
Rakowski says since January of 2020, more than 125 officers have left. In the last 12 weeks alone, he says they've lost one officer per week. And in the next few years, with retirements on tap, they expect to lose 140 more, a number Hartford's mayor, Luke Bronin, isn't so sure about.
The attrition over the past 12 months is actually the lowest that we've seen since 2016.
Mayor Bronin says he was surprised by this letter since they just negotiated a contract with the union where officers saw a significant pay increase.
There's a reason that we put forward the biggest pay increase for our police in decades, because they deserve it and because we want to make sure that we can retain and recruit cops.
Bronin says there's no doubt they're seeing the same problem as every other department across the country, and they're not fully staffed, but they're working on recruiting.
We are open to any and all conversations about how we can work together to do what's in the best interest of our department and our community.
But at the rate things are going, Rakowski says they need to act faster.
There are three jewels that I look for in negotiations: pay, medical, and pension. You got to give me one of the three.
Now, the police chief says they're doing what they can to keep officers, including spreading the workload so the junior officers are not bearing the brunt of the work. He goes on to say, quote, these efforts have been met with grievances by Hartford Police Union leadership, most of which have more seniority and are unwilling to share the burden. Now, as for what happens next, both sides say they are willing to work on some solutions together. We are in Hartford. Julia LeBlanc, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
Julia, thank you very much. Well, Governor Lamont is launching an investigation after an auditor said it's highly likely Connecticut police falsified more than 25,000 traffic tickets over the last decade. The report, which came out today, alleges systemic violations of state law and says the falsified data makes it seem troopers ticketed more white drivers and fewer minority drivers than they really did.
I'm also told that compared to 10 years ago, it's much less than it was before, but still, the integrity of our police is paramount. We got to make sure people have confidence there. So we'll get to the bottom of it.
The auditors cautioned at a public meeting that while they found there were widespread problems, a formal investigation was needed to decide if they were intentional. We reached out to state police, who released a statement saying they will not be providing any further comments on the matter.
Well, new tonight, the Massachusetts man accused of stabbing his estranged wife to death in East Hartford appeared in front of a judge this morning.
The judge raising his bond for a crime that she labeled domestic violence. Fox 61's Carmen Chow has the details on the hearing.
The bond for 57-year-old Wilkid Valsenord was raised from $2.5 to $3.5 million. And today, this arrest warrant was released to us. And in it, it reveals what led up to the brutal murder. Close friends and family showed up in numbers wearing white and purple with a picture of 51-year-old Andra Valsenord on their shirts. They left after the hearing, visibly upset, asking for privacy. Last Sunday, shortly before 7 a.m., East Hartford police officers responded to Martin Circle to conduct a welfare check. There, they found Andra dead inside her home. The arrest warrant states a family member was dropping off dogs when she discovered Andra laying in a pool of blood. Officers discovered blood-like stains in the bedroom, living room, and on her necklace, which showed Andra tried to fight back but was stabbed and slashed to death on her head and neck. Just yesterday, 57-year-old Wilkid Valsenord, her estranged husband, was arrested in connection to the homicide. Dried blood was found on Wilkid's hands and parts of his white van throughout the investigation, according to the warrant. During the hearing, the prosecutor revealed Valsenord was arrested in Massachusetts in 2006 for rape.
That is charged as the ultimate act of domestic violence as well.
The arrest warrant goes on to state a family member called Wilkid belligerent every time he drinks, and also owns his own carpentry business.
Has been in the States for over 20 years, does run his own business in Western Mass, which is right over the border. Does not have the means to post any bond.
The judge eventually ordered that Wilkid be on lockdown 24/7 and to turn over any passports.
Mr. Valsenord has apparently attempted to flee jurisdictions before.
After the hearing, family members rushed off to Andra's funeral, and Valsenord is expected to reappear in court sometime next month. In Manchester, Carmen Chow, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
Carmen, thank you. A former city official in court today after a hit and run that's left a 17-year-old fighting for his life on a ventilator. 58-year-old John Egan was serving as the chair of Waterbury Zoning Commission when he allegedly hit 17-year-old Brian Kaye on a scooter and then drove away. Egan has since resigned. The arrest warrant says that Egan had been drinking for about 10 hours before the accident, having at least 16 alcoholic drinks. He's out on bond now and will be in court again July 28th. Kaye's lawyer tells us his prognosis remains poor.
Well, city leaders are voting tonight to decide whether they're going to fire 2 more New Haven police officers involved in an arrest that left a man paralyzed. Sergeant Bessie Segu and Officer Oscar Diaz could be the last officers taken off the force after Randy Cox was paralyzed riding in a police van without a seatbelt. And despite his pleas, he did not receive immediate medical treatment. 2 other officers involved were fired earlier this month, and the 5th retired. Cox's family recently settled his lawsuit with the city for $45 million, the largest police misconduct settlement in U.S. history.
A new federal Bill of Rights is aiming to provide protection for mobile homeowners. The proposal would require tenants to get a 60-day written notice of rent increases or other fees, allow for a 1-year renewable lease, and new rights to sell their homes or to sublet them. This comes as tenants say that they've faced unfair rent increases, bad living conditions, and more.
The world has changed. People who own mobile homes no longer live in places where the owner of the land underlying their home is a local person who responds to local opinion and local interests.
Now, the federal Tenants Bill of Rights is only a proposal at this point, but Senator Blumenthal says he's hopeful for bipartisan support.